Hey guys, welcome to another episode of DFS Jags Fantasy Football Stream. I am your host, Riku Mukherjee, coming in today to recap last week, week 10 of the NFL season, and to answer all your live fantasy football questions. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Chris Caldwell. How you doing, Chris?
Good, man. I'm feeling a little battered and bruised from our weekend together in South Florida. Saw the Ravens get their butt whipped,
hmm
and then had a few adult beverages. So still recovering, but ready to talk some football and get ready for Week 11.
Yeah. Last Wednesday, I was traveling to Miami to watch the Ravens game. Chris came in on Thursday, so he was able to do the show last week. So big shout out to Mike and Jake for filling in for me last week. But I'm back this week to talk some football. As Chris just said, we were both in South Florida. We went to the Ravens game on Thursday. Which was not fun, but after that, the rest of the weekend was fun. We had about I would say a total of 200 drinks on the weekend, give or take. So it was
Not proud.
yeah, not proud. I was pretty beat up Monday and Tuesday, but I'm feeling better today, so I'm ready to talk some fantasy football with Chris here. Um, Before we get started, if you like our show, if you like our content, please subscribe to the channel, give us a like, comment on YouTube, tweet at us. Our Twitters and our Instagrams are below our faces here. Feel free to reach out to us for anything. If you are watching live right now and you have a question, please leave it in the live chat. Me and Chris will be checking it periodically throughout the show, and we will answer your question 100%. So, with that being said, oh, one more thing. We had a giveaway last month for a Josh Allen autographed helmet, and that went swimmingly. A lot of people entered in the contest. We're doing another one. We're going to announce the prize this weekend. Mike and Jake are going to announce it on the Buffalo Show this weekend, what the prize is going to be. And I think we're going to run something similar to what we ran last month, where you guys can enter in various ways and win that prize. So we'll go over that this weekend on the Buffalo Show, and then when we come back next week, we'll go over in depth into how you can enter and get some more entries into that contest. So keep an eye out for that. Enter into the contest, join the channel. We're here for letting you guys ask us questions and giving things away to you guys. So
Yeah, if y'all
uh,
thought the last prize was sick, this one is really nice.
yeah. So yeah, with that being said, let's jump into our Week 10 recap. Unfortunately, we are going to kick it off with the Thursday night game last week, Ravens at Dolphins. Ravens go into town as a 8.5 point favorite. They only put up a measly 10 points, get their butts handed to them by the lowly Dolphins, who are now 3-7. The Ravens are 6-3, still atop of the division, surprisingly enough. But this was a rough one, Chris. Tell me what you saw with your own eyes.
Yeah, man, it was extremely hard to watch. The Dolphins came in with a very specific game plan on how to attack the Ravens, and the Ravens, we've seen them do this in past years. They couldn't adjust. So the Dolphins blitzed more times in this game than any team has ever blitzed this season. So they basically went, zero high safety. We're blitzing corners. We're blitzing safeties, and they were bringing the heat every play, and they were begging the Ravens to press the ball downfield. And we were addicted to throwing 2 and 3 yard out routes all game. It was the most infuriating thing to watch, and we couldn't adjust. So when that happens, there's no fantasy points to be had. So the Ravens pretty much put duds up across the whole board, except I guess
Rashad
Rashad
Bateman.
Bateman had a
Yeah.
decent game. He's looking like, he's working his way slowly into being our number one receiver. The guy is just uber talented. He has to be on all fantasy rosters at this point. And other than that, my only takeaway from the Ravens side is that this was the first game where we had a clear cut RB1. Freeman handled the majority of the work there, and Le'Veon Bell was actually cut earlier this week. Latavius Murray will be back this week. So it'll be some sort of a committee, but yeah, Freeman's playing pretty well. So had to see how that one shakes out.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times it was 3rd and long in this game, and they ran a bubble screen that just didn't work, or a screen that didn't work, or getting sacked. Offensive line played terrible. They got manhandled by the pressure up front and the blitzing. They couldn't handle it. It was a rough game to watch in live in person. I did not have a good time, and after the game, I thought about it for a little while, and I mean, I bleed purple and black. I've bled it for 20 plus years now, but I don't know, man. This team stinks. I don't know what else to say besides it. Like, I was thinking about the games that they've played this season, and they shouldn't have won the Chiefs game. They shouldn't have won the Colts game, the Lions game,
Vikings.
the Vikings game. Like, these are 4 games they should not have won. They were less than a 50% chance to win those games, maybe
They
even
could
lower
be.
than
They
that.
could easily be 2-7 right
They
now.
could easily be 2-7 right now. Luckily, by our lucky stars, they're 6-3. They have time to turn it around, and the only silver lining we have here is everyone else in the AFC kind of stinks too.
Yeah.
There's no one else that's really taking hold or strangle the AFC. I mean, Buffalo's good. The Chiefs are, back. It seems like a little bit, but everyone's struggling. So the Ravens are struggling also. They have seems like a game this week against the Bears where it's kind of like a get right spot against a bad team. But I thought that was last week. But I kind of pass it off as a Thursday night game, short week, whatever. We're coming up.
Lamar's in his hometown.
Yeah,
I'm not
Lamar.
going to overlook that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this week against the Bears, they have a mini bye, a little well rested, so they should come out firing. They're a touchdown favorite this week, so hopefully they come out and win the Bears game. You're going to the game this weekend too?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Nice.
The line's down to 4.5.
Is it really? I thought it was at 6.5 earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess sharps are pounding the Bears, but tell me what you saw on the Dolphins side of the ball. Nothing really spectacular, to be completely honest with you.
The Dolphins fantasy output was hilarious. Neither QB threw a touchdown, so Jacoby Brissett started, and then Tua came in. Neither of them threw a touchdown. Tua had a QB sneak from like the 1 millimeter line to pretty much ice the game, I believe. But the Ravens got absolutely tore up by Albert Wilson. Like, that guy, he looked absolutely incredible. He had chunk play after chunk play, whether it was a run or a pass. It was pretty crazy how dynamic he looked. And I remember thinking in years past, like, man, this guy's really good. But I don't know why he just can't consistently produce. I'm not saying go pick up Albert Wilson. I just couldn't believe, the juke stick on that guy. He's pretty great athlete.
He's
but
exciting
besides that, I think
yeah.
Gaskin had a dud game. Waddle did okay, but no one else really.
It's like you had a donut.
Yeah, I guess Dolphins defense was the best play of the bunch.
Yeah. I guess the big news from this game was Tua was close to starting, but I guess they gave the nod to Brissett, and then Brissett got hurt during the game, and then Tua came in and played pretty well with was he have like a broken finger or something like that? Yeah, he played pretty decent. I know Dolphins fans aren't the happiest in the world with his production so far in the NFL. I think they kind of wish they drafted Justin Herbert over Tua, but moving forward, it seems like he's going to be their guy, at least for the rest of this year. We'll see what happens in the offseason. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say else about the Dolphins.
No, we talk about this because it's the Ravens and it was a primetime game, but fantasy wise, this is just you probably hope you didn't start anyone in this game.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let me check the chat here. Do we have any questions? No questions yet. All right, let's move on to the Bills Mafia game. Bills whip up on Mike White and the Jets. I believe they were a 11.5 point favorite in this game. They win the game 45-17 on the road. They go into Gotham City and they beat up on the Jets, which is not surprising. So yeah, the takeaway I have about this game was it's a get right game for the Bills after they coming off of a ugly loss to the Jags, and they did what they did. They showed once again that they're a great team, an elite team, but they beat up on a bad team. So who are the Bills? I don't know.
Well, this week the Bills were a team that had 4 rushing touchdowns and none of them were Josh Allen.
Yeah,
Probably can never say that again,
yeah.
right? And the other crazy stat from this game, Matt Breida out of nowhere has 6 touches and turns 2 of them into touchdowns.
I didn't even know he was in the NFL still.
Uh, I think he was on the practice squad, or I don't think he was an active player very often. But yeah, so I can't say I'm saying run to your waivers and pick up Matt Breida. I think when you score 2 touchdowns on 6 touches, Moss was a little bit banged up coming in this game. He got in the end zone. Singletary got in the end zone, and Isaiah McKenzie got in the end zone. Pretty much everyone scored on the ground, so that was nice. And
Diggs got one over the air.
Stephon Diggs had a really get right game. He's now wide receiver 1 on the year. He's wide receiver 12. So, and he has a couple nice matchups coming up the next couple weeks. So, if you stuck it out with Diggs through his slow start, I think you're finally seeing dividends. So, good on you there. Dawson Knox came back this week. He had a pretty light game, but I think he's a solid buy low candidate. If people, put him on the bench and then, he came back and he kind of threw up a dud, I think, you can, if you're tight end needy, you can check in there to see if anyone's selling Knox. So, yeah, I mean, anything else on the Bills?
I don't really have anything else in the Bills. Gabriel Davis, 3 for 106. I mean, he kind of played the Emmanuel Sanders game this week. It's kind of flip flopping between those two, who's having a good week. But Cole Beasley was a no show this week. He's been playing pretty well earlier this season. I didn't see much from him.
He's hurt. He has like a rib problem or like a core problem or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think he only played like 20% of the snaps this game or something. I think I'm assuming since he only played 20% of the snaps, I didn't watch this whole game, or any of it actually, but I'm assuming he got hurt earlier in the game. Mike could probably hook us up with some better intel, but yeah, he only played a handful of snaps this game. So if you have Beasley, you got to really pay close attention to the injury report. I wouldn't be playing him again until the coaches deem him 100% healthy.
Okay. Going to the other side of the ball, let's just start off by talking about my new favorite player in fantasy football, Michael Carter.
I hate you, dude. I cut him like week 3, and you picked him.
The guy is just killing it week to week. He's catching balls through the air. I don't know if it's just the Mike White thing. Unfortunately, for Michael Carter orders this week, Joe Flacco is starting a quarterback. So
dude, Joey checks it down too. I wouldn't.
That's
be
true.
too worried.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Joe Flacco, as we know, is Ravens fans.
Think Ray Rice and replace with Michael Carter.
Yeah. So maybe Michael Carter is a sneaky big play this week. But yeah, man, he's touching the ball a lot. He touched it. Let's see, 20 times this game. Got in the end zone on the ground. Had about almost 100 yards totals from scrimmage. Yeah, guy's a stud, man.
I think we were probably there before this year. I mean, before this game. But if not, you have to be there after this game. He put up almost 100 yards against the Bills defense, which has been incredible. He's running back 17 on the year, and that was after he had a combined 15 fantasy points his first 3 games.
Yeah.
So ever since week 4, the guy is just incredible. So I don't think that you can have Michael Carter on your bench anymore. Pretty much, unless you're absolutely loaded somehow, Michael Carter's an every week start.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's turning out to be I'm not gonna say rookie of the year candidate, but he's definitely one of the bright spots in the rookie class this year. So yeah, they look like they're gonna run him into the ground this year, giving him the start every week moving forward, just because it seems like the Jet season is over at this point. So let's see they want to see what they got out of him.
And you want to hear so this is more good things about Michael Carter. Here's 4 of their next 5 games: Miami, Houston, Philly, Miami, all terrible run defenses.
Yeah.
So Michael Carter is just like, he's entering league-winning territory right now.
Yeah, he definitely is. Anything else on the Jets? Corey Davis had a nice game, 5 for 93. Nothing else really pops for me in this game besides
Just
that.
that Elijah Moore has, he now has 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games. So, but yeah, I could call on Corey Davis. I'm going to talk about him during waivers. I think people were kind of frustrated, with his injuries and slow play, but when he's healthy, he's easily the guy there.
Yeah. What's your take on the Jets moving forward? Do you think Zach Wilson is any good?
I mean, they're definitely going to give him the start of next year, right? So did you hear they're starting Flacco this next week, which is like the most confusing football move ever because they're not in playoff contention. Well, they're not mathematically out, but they're not in playoff contention. And I know Mike White had a bad game, but what do you have to lose by letting Mike White keep playing, right? At least see if he's going to be your backup. But so number one, I wouldn't play Wilson until he's 101% healthy. There's literally no reason to play him even remotely hurt. But it's hard to say, man. I mean, that would suck if they drafted another Darnold.
Yeah. Do you think that people like Corey Davis and Michael Carter, do you think these guys are like good, like players that you want to try to buy in dynasty leagues, like moving forward? Like, I mean, Michael Carter, I think for sure, but Corey Davis probably not, right?
Yeah, I mean, Michael Carter for sure, especially if you're not in. Well, yeah, no one's going to really sell him though. So I think Corey Davis is a nice buy because he started off this season white hot with Wilson at QB. So even though Wilson's struggling, he shows that he likes Corey Davis. So I'm a pretty big Davis fan. So and Wilson's going to be under the helm sooner rather than later. I don't think he has the type of injury to set out the rest of the year. So I think another 2 weeks he'll be back in there. So we'll see what we got.
Yep. All right. Let's see.
We have a question. You want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. What should I do with D Hopkins this week? I'm assuming that means DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, I mean, my answer to that question is just simply follow the injury report. I think that if he is active and playing, I don't think it takes a lot of balls to bench a active DeAndre Hopkins. So, what do you think? I lost Chris. Maybe I lost myself. Oh, Chris got disconnected, but I'll keep talking until he gets back. Yeah, to answer your question, MCK, thanks for joining the chat. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, I would play DeAndre Hopkins if he's healthy. There's also the factor of Kyler Murray, of what you want to do with Kyler Murray, because we don't know if he is playing either. I just don't know who you would be playing. Like, I'm assuming if you're not playing DeAndre Hopkins, you're playing someone off the waivers. Like, who are you playing with, like, off the waivers? Even if DeAndre Hopkins is a little gimpy with Colt McCoy, like, I think you have to play DeAndre Hopkins if he's active. Yeah, you're back.
I couldn't hear what you said, but my thing would be, I don't think I'm playing Hopkins unless Kyler plays. But I don't think Hopkins is going to play unless Kyler plays, if that makes sense.
You think that those two just go hand in hand?
I think they're mutual. Yeah, they're yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, the Cardinals are. I mean, they're still the number 1 seed, but if they lose this week, they lose that title. So they need to win. So I mean,
I think Kyler's going to play. Word on the street is he could have played last week.
Okay, yeah. I say that if Hopkins is active, you have to start him. I mean, regardless of Kyler or Colt McCoy is playing, I think you still have to play Hopkins. He's still one of the best wide receivers in the league. You can't bench him. But all right, well, thanks for the question, MCK. We'll please go subscribe to the channel. And is that somebody we know? He said, "Thanks, Chiefs."
Oh.
Is that Michael King?
I don't know.
What's his middle name? Is it C? I don't know his middle name. No, anyway.
Know. Oh, do you think he's on here? Yeah, but our friend group calls each other. Hold on.
Yeah. Like, we all call each other Chiefs, so I'm like, that has to be.
Man, so all right, let me tell a story real quick, and then we'll get back to the fantasy football. So, like, a lot of my friends make fun of me because I'm like really into fantasy. I play 9 leagues. I kind of take it seriously, but it's what I like to do. It's my hobby. Well, we have this one friend, Mike, that doesn't really know the difference between football and hockey. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but the guy is relatively clueless when it comes to sports. Well, I begged him. I was like, dude, like you at work, like you need to talk about fantasy football, like at the bar. You should be able to like be in the conversation. So finally he joined a league. Needless to say, I had to help him, a lot. Other people kind of urge him on. Well, I played him last week and he beat me. And he like beat me by a lot. So now I feel like he's on this channel trolling me, but we'll find out later.
Those are his initials, and he said Chief, so I think it might be him. Anyways, we have another question here from MPX1606. Thanks for joining the chat. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. He says, thoughts on Gibson? I'm assuming that means Antonio Gibson. I'll let you go first. We're about to talk about the Bucs Redskins game next, so go ahead and tell me what you think, and I'll tell you what I think.
Yeah, man, that'll be a good segue. So, I was talking about last week when you weren't here, Rick, that once we saw what the Bucs did with Gibson, what the football team did with Gibson coming off a bye after they let his leg heal for a week, that was going to tell me everything I wanted and needed to know for the rest of the season. Well, he set his season high in touches last week. So I am now officially, I'm all in on Gibson the rest of the year. I feel like since they gave him that week of rest, they trusted that he is healthy enough that I think they're just going to ride him. So,
I agree. That's exactly what I was going to say. I don't know why they kept playing him on an injured shin like that for weeks in a row. I know he played through it. He's a tough guy, but they should have shut him down for a couple weeks earlier in the season, and they could have really, I think, benefited from that. And we saw in this game against the Super Bowl champion Bucs. Like, we'll go into it right now. The Bucs go into Washington and pretty much get dominated in this game. They lose 29-19. They never looked like they had a chance to win this game, to be completely honest with you. It was a pretty thorough butt kicking for the Bucs coming off of a bye. So yeah, like we said, Antonio Gibson season high in touches for them, also coming off of a bye. It was a surprising game. Obviously, the Bucs were I think like a 10-point favorite or something like that, and they go in and get the doors blown off them. And like you said, it's very, very encouraging for Gibson moving forward, getting 24 carries. And did he have any catches in this game? No, he had 2 catches. Yeah, 26 touches in this game. So if I have Gibson, I am holding on to him and playing him. If you have a team that you're winning with, hopefully you can ride it through the playoffs. So that's my thoughts on Gibson.
Yeah, I think he's a really solid buy low candidate. If anyone's even selling anymore. I mean, the best is if you got him like a week or two ago when everyone was out on him. But I think they're ready to feed him. But,
I didn't in the chat. We're gonna talk about the Bucs Redskins game real quick, and then we'll get to your question in 1 minute. So tell me about this game, Chris.
Yeah, man. Tom Brady looked human in this game. He looked visibly frustrated in the huddle, on the sideline after the game. His press conference after the game was like 2 minutes long, and he kept trying to leave. He's just, I feel like that was a little bit of a dig on the defense, because the football team's last drive was like the longest drive of the NFL season, and he really wanted to get back on the field and have a chance to win. But props to the football team for putting together something like a 12 or 13-minute drive to ice the game. So they deserve it. But there's not much to speak about for the Bucs fantasy wise, other than Fournette had a solid PPR game. Mike Evans got saved, with 1 blown coverage, 1 long touchdown. Mm-hmm. It's just pretty obvious that this offense needs Antonio Brown or Gronk back.
Both.
Or both. Yeah. They need all their weapons to really take flight there. But I mean, Brady's still QB2 on the year, so there's no panic there. It's just, when he has Evans and Godwin only, it's not enough.
I think they should panic on defense, though. Their defense stinks.
Yeah, I mean, they were down 4 corners on IR, and I heard that they lost 2 more corners during the game, but I don't know how serious the injuries were. So I think that's something to look at a little bit. And you can really exploit the Bucs secondary, especially if one of those 2 corners is going to be out this coming week.
Yep. Speaking of injuries on defense, a really tough blow for the Washington
Chase
football team
Young.
in this game. Yeah, Chase Young tears his ACL. He is obviously out for this season. Big blow to them on defense. If you have any interest in playing them in fantasy defense
They've
wise.
been pretty crappy, and I
Yeah.
think he only had like a sack or two all year. So I mean, not that he wasn't impacting the game, but football team was not the defense we thought they were going to be.
Right. On that side of the ball, Terry McLaurin, 6 for 59. Okay
Hey,
game.
the big news on McLaurin is that he didn't break his collarbone. I think a lot of people thought that he broke his collarbone in the
Oh,
middle of the
yeah.
game. Mm-hmm.
Did he come back in the game after that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I guess he had negative X-rays or something. I'm not sure. I know
Okay.
he left the game for a while, and then he came back in later.
Yeah. And do you have any takes on the Washington side of the ball besides that?
No, just the last point was I think Logan Thomas is coming back this week.
Yeah.
And football team has a really juicy schedule the rest of the way. So let that be another reason to go trade for Antonio Gibson and pick up Logan Thomas if he's on your waivers.
Okay. All right. Let's answer this question for Aiden Ontiveros. Thanks for the question, Aiden. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're here every week. He says start 3, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Tyler Lockett, Jeff Wilson, or Chris Carson. Well,
Okay, I think I can make this easier 2 different ways. Eckler is started every week, no matter what. I don't care what the matchup is. And Chris Carson, I'm not considering starting him until we see 1 or 2 healthy games under his belt.
Yeah.
So
I honestly think this question comes down to Lockett or Wilson, to be complete. I think you're starting Eckler and Jacobs no matter what.
Yeah, Eckler's in for sure. Jacobs in for sure. And I'm probably starting Lockett. The only way I'd start Jeff Wilson, I guess if Elijah Mitchell's out, he has a broken finger.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can start Jeff Wilson because you know you're going to get the volume. But at the same time, Jeff Wilson's coming off an injury. He's played 1 game. He had 10 carries for like 30 yards. I mean, are you thrilled to start Jeff Wilson? Start Tyler Lockett. I mean, he can score 40 points any given week. I mean, he hasn't done it in a long time, since week 2 or 3, but the upside for Lockett is incredible. And they got shut out this week, but he led the team in targets. So I'm going with the first 3. Eckler, Jacobs, and Lockett.
I'm just gonna add one more thing to that real quick. Surprisingly, over the last couple weeks, the Jaguars defense is actually run defense has gotten a little bit better. And that's who the 49ers play this week. So I'm going to go also with Eckler, Jacobs, and Lockett. And I think you have to wait a week and see what's going on. I think Elijah Mitchell might even play this week. So
yeah, Shanahan said he's trending that way.
Okay. Yeah, so Eckler, Jacobs, and Lockett for both of us. Aiden, thanks for the question. I'm reading some stuff here. So MPX says I think Gibson is going to go crazy second half of the season. Yep, I agree there, MPX. And then he says Rivera said that over the bye they talked with Gibson. Yep, okay. All right. Next question here from Cade Smith. He says AJ Brown or DK rest of the season.
This one's easy for me. Who do you want?
I'm going to go with AJ Brown. I think that I'm not going to say Seattle's broken, but they're kind of broken right now. Russell Wilson coming off an injury did not look like himself last week. They look like they're struggling on offense, and I think they're 1 loss away from their season ending, and they could potentially shut Russ down for the rest of the season, to be completely honest with you, if they're out of playoff contention. So Titans are in the thick of things. They're throwing the ball a lot. They don't have much going on the ground. I think AJ Brown's a play, especially with Julio not a non-factor.
Yeah, I'm going AJ Brown too. It's a volume thing for me. No Derrick Henry, no Julio Jones. Julio Jones just got put on IR again. My only worry with AJ Brown is that he's going to get the treatment that he got last week when he was double and triple covered every play. But he's also too good of a player for that to work all the time. He's really that team's primary weapon right now, and there's no one else even close. So neither of them are bad options, but I would just give the edge to AJ Brown just because the offense runs through him now.
Yep, I agree. And then really quickly jumping back to Iden, he said, if I have Bateman, does that change who you're starting or no?
Bateman versus the Bears or Lockett.
Who are the Seahawks playing this week?
I don't know.
They are playing, let's see here. Seattle's playing someone at home.
I'm gonna stick with.
Seahawks are playing the Cardinals at home. That should be a high scoring game potentially. I don't know. That's a tough
I'm gonna
call for
stick
me.
with. I'm gonna stick with Lockett and not try to get cute here. I mean, Lockett has had a pretty disappointing year, but he always has that blow up potential. Rick just said that game could easily shoot out, especially if Kyler plays. So, yeah, I like the back and forth of the Seattle Arizona game. Just remember the Ravens play at Soldier Field. Lamar has said 100 times he hates playing in cold weather.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to be frigid there, but it's going to be like 30 degrees. So I'm gonna stick with Lockett. But Bateman's not a bad flex play.
Yeah, definitely not. He says one more question. Sorry, boys. He says Logan Thomas or Dawson Knox. Knox has a tough matchup with the Bills. I'm still rolling with Knox for sure. Thomas coming off an injury. We're not even 100% sure if Thomas is playing this week
He
or
didn't
not.
practice today.
Yeah, he didn't practice today. So, so that says that he's still kind of injured a little bit. So I think me and Chris are both in unison here, saying Knox for sure.
Rule of thumb is never play a player their first week back from a soft tissue injury. And Logan Thomas has a hamstring. So you need to see one full game of 60 or 70% of the snaps, and then, followed by a week of practice before you play Logan Thomas. But that being said, roster both of them because Thomas has a great rest of the season schedule.
Yeah, I agree. We have one more question. Cade says Godwin or Hollywood rest of the season.
God.
Was that God or Godwin?
What? God. Godwin is God.
No,
I
don't know. It's a little closer than you think, I think.
Yeah, I'm going with the prolific passing offense. I'm just a big Chris Godwin fan. He's a big slot target. Brady loves him. He's been super solid all year. Hollywood's been really good, but Bateman's emerging. Mark Andrews is there. I think you can't go wrong with either, but I'm leading Godwin. Just the passing offense is just better.
Yeah, and I mean we've said it numerous times on the show. Brady can support all of his wide receivers, like every single one, including Gronk. So, I think Godwin. I think it's a little closer than most people will think, just like because of the offenses that they're in. But in my opinion, Godwin's the better play rest of the season.
Yeah, it's a pretty much a toss up, but
yep.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to the end of the chat in questions so far. If you have any more questions, leave them there. We will get to them.
Thanks everyone for the questions. Subscribe to the channel. Come back every week. We do this every Wednesday. Ask all the questions you want. We will sit here for 2 hours and not talk about any games from last week and just answer questions if that's what you guys want to do.
Absolutely. But since we're at the end of the questions, let's jump into our next game here. The New Orleans Saints with Trevor Siemian go to Tennessee. They have a 2-point conversion chance at the end of this game to tie the game, send it to overtime, which I, as a person who had a big bet on the Saints this past weekend, very, very happy that they missed the 2-point conversion because they covered the line. So they go in, they lose by 2 points as a 3-point underdog. Pretty exciting game. This was probably one of the games of the day, I would think, as far as excitement goes. Pretty fun game to watch. I know me and Chris didn't watch much football this past Sunday, but I caught up on the highlights, and it was a pretty exciting game to watch. What do you think, Chris? I got a fun little stat for you about the Saints, but tell me about the fantasy stuff first.
Cool. Yeah, I think this was a much better football game than it was fantasy game. Trevor Siemian just he's chugging along. He does what he does. He doesn't turn the ball over, throws a touchdown or two. I guess he's their starter the rest of the year, huh? It looks like Taysom's back to like the gadget role.
Is he? I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that question.
I was talking about this with Jake last week. Is why was there such a heated QB battle, and then one of the QBs goes down? Winston goes down, and Taysom isn't the starter. Like, that's really confusing to me.
I mean, he had
Anyway,
a pretty bad concussion. I mean, he could still be feeling effects from that.
why is he playing tight end?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But Mark Ingram stepped in for injured Kamara, and the Saints offense literally just revolves around their top running back. So whenever Kamara's in, you can pretty much book 100 total yards, 3, 4, 5 catches. Ingram's doing the same thing. I think Kamara will be back this week, so it's probably got all the juice you can out of Ingram, as like a RB2, but I think he has some low end flex appeal moving forward. He's looked outstanding. So I imagine they're not going to, put him all the way down to, 4 or 5 touches. As for the Titans,
who is the back to own in the Titans backfield? I think it's Foreman.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm going to get to that in a second. Mm-hmm. It's crazy to me that Tennessee's without Henry, without Julio Jones, and AJ Brown had 1 catch.
Yeah.
And they freaking won the game.
Marcus Johnson. Who is that guy?
I think he's from Texas. I'm not sure. It's incredible. I like teams like this a lot more than you do. I like well-coached teams that can win without, glitz and glam and all that stuff. That's why I like the Colts. But Tennessee's the same way. They're without 2 of their 3 best players, and the best player on the field has 1 catch. And they win the game. It's incredible. But about the backfield, Foreman is the guy to own. I feel like he was a wannabe like dynasty darling the past couple of years. I think he tore his Achilles
when he was on Houston.
Yeah, he's 6 foot, 230 pounds, absolute tank.
He was on my IR for like the longest time. I loved D'Onta Foreman when he was in Houston, but just never got a chance to play there.
And he runs a 4.5. So I was never gonna roll with Adrian Peterson. I just don't see it.
What happened to Jeremy McNichols?
I don't know, man. I guess maybe a little bit game planned out of here. I don't really know, but I'm not giving up on McNichols. If you have a deeper bench, I think I still want to hang with him just because there's no proven person there, right? You have Foreman, AP, and McNichols. So I don't know. If I had to start one of them this week, I'm going Foreman.
Yeah, I agree. So for you bettors out there that are watching, I know this is a fantasy show, but just so you guys, in case you guys bet on football, the Saints this year in 11, or how many games have they played? They've played 9 games so far this year. Every time they have been an underdog or a less than field goal favorite, so meaning -2 or less, they've covered. And every time they've been a field goal favorite or more, they have not covered. So just a little bit piece of information for you guys moving forward. This week they're +1.5 at Philadelphia. So if that trend continues, bet the Saints, bet the house on the Saints. So definitely like that. I don't know what it is about them. They're a good team, but it seems like when they are supposed to win as a big favorite, they just don't play that well.
Yeah, damn, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else? Get to this question real quick?
What question?
So, Mike, whoever it is, pretty sure it's Mike King. Should I start Fournette or McKissick? I can't decide between the two.
That's not a real question, right?
Yeah, man. Leonard Fournette all day, every day. Next question.
I mean, come on.
Hold on. I know how I can find out if it's him or not.
I feel like that's
the CV has those 2 players.
I feel like that's a troll question. Anyways, I don't really have much on this game. We'll get to it in the waiver section. If you don't have D'Onta Foreman, he's going to be one of the top waiver pickups this week for running backs for sure. AJ Brown, just a dud game, but no reason to be scared to start him week to week. Don't really like anyone in the Saints passing attack as usual. So that's all my takes for this game.
Yeah, Traquan Smith and Callaway. They're both fine recently, but neither of them you're not jazzed about it, especially since buys are almost over. You don't need players of their caliber anymore.
All right. Do we have any other questions? Okay, we have another question. He says for my flex. Yes, I understand for your flex, MCK. You're not starting McKissick over Fournette ever. Fournette's a starting running back, volume-wise. McKissick's a backup pass-catching running back. So
says McCaffrey and Ingram are my main running backs. No, McCaffrey and Fournette are your main.
Yeah. So if the question is McKissick or Mark Ingram,
that's a good question.
That's actually a legit question. We'll answer that question. So you're starting Fournette and McCaffrey at running back. At flex, you're starting. Who are you starting, Chris?
McKissick or Ingram. So if Kamara's out, it's Ingram all day, every day, twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
If Kamara plays, I'm probably just rolling McKissick.
Yeah, I agree. So if Kamara's out, Ingram. If Kamara's in, McKissick. That's our answer. All right. Let's move on. Where are we going next? We're going to the Vikings-Chargers game. Minnesota Vikings. In my opinion, one of the best 4 and 5 teams I've ever seen in the NFL. They are exciting. They win games. They should have beat the Ravens the week before. I don't know. They just seem like they're a good team, but they just don't win. They just don't win the games sometimes, and they just play really close games. But as an underdog in this game, they go into LA and win 27-20. Big game from Kirk, like we always said. Pretty dud game from the Chargers in this game in all facets of the game. Keenan Allen had a nice game, but talk to me about Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson in this game.
Yeah, I got to start with Kirk, though. Said it preseason. We say it every week. Guy is literally like one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the NFL. He's QB 10 on the year for fantasy football and probably drafted as QB 20. So good job if you have him. Dalvin Cook, 120 total yards and a touchdown. He's a top 3 running back option moving forward, hands down. Justin Jefferson gets his again. You know, the thing I love about the Vikings, they're like such a funnel offense. You know, it's never like random players really that get the love. It's if they have a good offensive game, you know it's Dalvin, you know it's Jefferson, you know it's Thielen. And then this game, you know, Conklin had 2 touchdowns, but he hasn't been scoring touchdowns, but he's been getting looks every game. So it's like the same 4 players. You're never like going to look when the Vikings score 30 points and, you know, Cook and Jefferson just have complete duds.
Yeah, like we just said about the Titans, like, you know, Adrian Brown, dud game. Like, how did they win that game? It's the same guys for them every week. I agree. Talk to me about the Chargers. Not much.
Herbert, down to QB7 on the year. His next 4 games is an absolute bloodbath for opposing QBs in fantasy. It'd be pretty hard for me to say you should sell Justin Herbert in fantasy football, but his next 4 games are Pittsburgh, Denver, Cincinnati, and New York Giants. And I know Cincinnati and New York Giants don't sound like much. They both have excellent secondaries. So the next 4 games are not looking great for Herbert. And, you know, he's been a little bit struggling on the year. So I don't know. I think if you're in a playoff run and he's your QB, I might be looking maybe sell him for like Derek Carr and a wide receiver, or Derek Carr and a running back. Derek Carr's schedule is literally the juiciest thing ever. Herbert's is god awful, and fill in another hole that you have on your team. Just a thought.
Okay. Is the Mike Williams party officially over?
Dude, I hate Mike Williams. He's like he and Tyler Lockett should hang out because they get 25 points or 3, and it's really frustrating. Except,
or in Mike Williams' case, he gets 25 points for 5 straight games, then gets hurt, and then goes back to being Mike Williams.
Exactly. But speaking of Chargers wide receiver, I have a stat or a quiz for you. Okay. Keenan Allen, he's wide receiver 14 on the year. How many games this year does he have less than 10 fantasy points?
Less than 10 fantasy points?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Rhymes with hero.
Wow. Double-digit fantasy points in every game?
Every game. But
Wow.
the thing is he
And
hasn't
he's
really.
only wide receiver 50. I feel like he should be higher than
Yeah, but
that.
he doesn't have any like ceiling games really.
Okay.
So,
That's like
but he's just like, yeah, he's just rock solid. He's good for that, 12 to 15 points. He's never going to lose you a
so does
week.
that make him a wide receiver 2 in your eyes? Like in
I
fantasy?
like players like him. I like law of like not law of averages, but like I'd rather have Keenan Allen, who I know for sure is going to get 12 to 15 points, than Mike Williams, that he's either going to get 3 or 25. I mean, I'm just going to take the middle ground all day, which is why I love like players like Cole Beasley when he's healthy, Hunter Renfrow in PPR. If you know for sure, I have a Hunter Renfrow stat later too. If you know for sure that they're going to get you 10 points, why not just lock it up?
Yeah, this is the big difference between what you play in season long fantasy and daily fantasy. Like in daily fantasy, you're looking for
The explosion.
the explosion, the upside, the 25 point game. So that's why I don't like playing someone like Keenan Allen on DraftKings. I think it's more of a season long consistent. You're going to get those 10 to 15 points every week. That's more of a something you want in season long. So if you're playing DraftKings out there, don't get too excited with Keenan Allen. I'd rather play someone like Justin Jefferson who can blow up for 30 points in one game or 35 points in one game. So that's a big difference there. So yeah, let's see here. Do we have anything else to talk about this game?
I think that's
No.
it.
Adam Thielen, 5 for 65, pretty normal game for him. He didn't get in the end zone. Do you have any love for Joshua Palmer, or any of the tight ends for Los Angeles? No, not really.
Josh Palmer, I mean, not in season long, but I have him on 2 or 3 of my dynasty teams. Really like him as a dynasty stash player. So if you play dynasty football, look up Josh Palmer. Guy's a huge receiver. I just think he played Tennessee, I think. Not much college production, but he has the size, speed. I just really like him. So go take a flyer on Josh Palmer. He might be owned in your dynasty league already, but if he's not, definitely put him at the last spot on your bench.
I think is Mike Williams up for a contract? Is his rookie contract over?
That's why I love Josh Palmer.
Yeah,
because Mike Williams is probably not going to be back with the Chargers next year.
Okay.
So you have Keenan Allen, and then you have Josh Palmer, who is literally a Mike Williams clone. They're the same type of receiver. They're big, physical, down the field receivers. So I think it's very obvious that the Chargers want to replace Mike Williams.
I agree. All right, let's see here. We don't have any questions, so let's move on to our next game here. The Panthers go into Arizona and beat up on the Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins less Arizona Cardinals. The big news, obviously, from this game is Cam.
He's back, baby.
Yeah, he's back, but he had like what? 6 touchdowns, 6 snaps in the game.
2 touchdowns. He had the Matt Breida game of quarterbacks.
Yeah, but he is going to be the starter this week, right? That's what I think.
They said that they're giving him all the first team reps.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Cam Newton is the starter this week. I don't really know how I feel about that fantasy wise, but we've seen Cam in the system in Carolina with Christian McCaffrey. We've seen what he can do. He obviously was an MVP one year and took the team to the Super Bowl. So. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Cam as a fantasy QB? Like, not obviously not a QB1, but like if you're playing in a 2 QB league, you playing him in the second QB spot?
Oh yeah, in a 2 QB league, I think he's probably a middle to top end QB2, and in a 1 QB league, I think he's streamable. So they have a great matchup this week with Washington football team. So yeah, I think I'm running him out there this week. I tried to pick him up a couple places. I think he's a pretty good play, but I think he has to be an upgrade over what they were starting the last 5 weeks at QB, right?
Yeah.
Because, I think this is helpful to DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson more than it hurts them. So
I think it helps Robbie Anderson a lot. You see how happy Robbie Anderson was in the post
Dude,
game?
he was sitting next to him at the podium. What was up with that?
Yeah, he's just happy. He's like, I finally have like a quarterback that I feel like can throw to me.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's looking up for the Panthers receivers because it really couldn't get much worse the way Darnold was playing the past couple weeks. So yeah, so small tick up for DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. For the Cardinals, I just have that, this is a throwaway game for them. There's usually one good team a week that you just want to, not really take stock in anything that happened. I have two takeaways for this game. James Conner is running back 11 in PPR and running back 5 in standard leagues. He has 11 touchdowns in his last 9 games.
Every week. Every week he scores.
If not twice.
Yeah.
And here's the stat that blew me away. The biggest shocker of the week. What wide receiver rank is Christian Kirk?
I don't know. Like in the
20.
30s?
20. 2-0.
Nah, I don't believe
yes,
that.
Yes, he is.
In PPR?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Is that higher than Hopkins?
Don't think so. But there's a small caveat. They haven't had their bye yet. Okay. So he's a little bit boosted up. But if you would ask me what wide receiver rank is Christian Kirk, I would have said 44.
Yeah, like in the 30s or 40s, something like that. I can't believe that.
Not 2-0.
Yeah.
I mean, that's freaking crazy.
That is crazy.
Anyway, I was, looking up to see because I saw he had a few solid games lately. I said, I wonder how he's doing. And I had to look at it 3 times.
Interesting. Man, this game is really frustrating for me, especially after watching the 49ers beat up on the Rams on Monday night. We'll get to that game in a minute. But last week, man, I had a really, really big parlay that all I needed was the 49ers to just beat Colt McCoy and no DeAndre Hopkins at home. And they just got their butts kicked last week. What? I don't understand this. Like now the Cardinals get their butts kicked by the Panthers and the 49ers beat the Rams at home. This league is just like, it's blowing my mind. I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up that, welcome to the NFL. It's just getting like crazier and crazier that, the Jets go and beat Cincinnati after Cincinnati's hot. The
Jags beat the Bills.
The Jags beat the Bills. The Cardinals beat the Panthers. I mean, the Cardinals lose to the Panthers by 24 at home. It just doesn't make sense.
The Dolphins beat the Ravens. I don't understand this league, man.
If you're a sports bettor, good luck. I kind of don't even feel bad for you. Stick to fantasy football. Players are a lot easier to predict than game outcomes.
Yeah. Last thing for me from this game. What else is there to say about Christian McCaffrey? Even when he's on 10 the field, catches. The guy is just, I mean, he's so good. If he can just stay healthy, he's RB1 every year. He's in every facet of the game. He takes every snap. He is running the ball, running routes every play. And it's just, I mean, he's so good. I don't know what else to say. What else is there to say about him? He's just a game changer on the field.
Yeah, it's great to have him back. I feel like NFL missed him.
Yeah.
He's an elite player in this league, and it's nice to see him play. So glad to have him back. I'm sure a lot of people that stashed him are hoping to use him for a playoff run right now. So yeah, congrats if you just got CMC back.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. Chat. Hey Jake, what's up, man? He says, thanks for filling in for me last week. He says, will DJ Moore ever resurrect from the dead?
Yeah, we just said that having Cam, I think, helps because Darnold was struggling that bad. But the thing is, remember at the beginning of the season, we actually said on the show, we said, oh my gosh, it's so nice that DJ Moore learned how to catch touchdowns. Yeah. DJ Moore did not learn how to catch touchdowns. He had 3 or 4 touchdowns in the first couple weeks and then none since. So he's back to, being allergic to the end zone. I don't know, man. He's like really frustrating player because he passes the eye test like crazy. He's super freaking athletic. He has great run after the catch ability, great vertical jump, strong hands. For some reason, I don't know if it's coaching, game plan. Like, how does a guy like that just not score more? It's very frustrating.
Bad quarterback play, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, if you put him on the Packers, he's probably Devontae Adams.
Yeah. Yeah, you could if you have him with Aaron Rodgers, I could definitely see that being him being an absolute stud. It has to be bad quarterback play. I mean, the guy. Me personally, I follow DJ Moore's career a little bit more closely than the normal fan, just because he was a Terp. So we saw how explosive he was in college with zero quarterback play. Like the Maryland's quarterbacks were awful in college, and then he comes to the NFL and he hasn't really had a good quarterback. I mean, Cam's all right, but I mean, if you put him with a stud like Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, I think he would absolutely blow up.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Let's see here. Jake says need to get Steve Smith at practice again. Incredible soundbite from that top tier moment. Oh, he's talking about Steve Smith at Panthers practice. Yeah, he's a funny guy.
Steve Smith would be a really good receiver for DJ Moore to learn from.
Yeah,
they kind of have DJ Moore's a little bit bigger than Steve Smith was, but they kind of have a similar playing style where they're
he should get off the broadcasting and go be a wide receivers coach somewhere.
Needs to happen.
All right, we're going to talk about the Sunday night game next. Chiefs at Raiders. Chiefs finally look like they're back to being the Chiefs in this game. They go and blow the doors off of the Raiders in Las Vegas, win 41-14 as a measly -2.5 point favorite, -3 in some spots, but they were just a field goal favorite, and they win this game by 27. Huge games for Kelsey. Darrell Williams, Tyreek had gotten the end zone twice. Just everywhere, they looked good all across the board. Raiders looked really bad. The Chiefs are back to being the leaders in their division, and they look like they're back. I don't know if this is consistent and here to stay. We'll get more of an idea of that this week when they play a much better team in the Dallas Cowboys. But yeah, what do you think, Chris? They're back to being a threat?
It's the first time Mahomes has ever played the Cowboys.
This upcoming week, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, all it took was one big game, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, and Mahomes is right back at QB1, where we thought he belonged, right? So he's QB1 on the season, followed by Brady at 2, Allen at 3, Lamar at 4, and Jalen Hurts at 5. So, even though as Ravens fans and Bills fans, we don't necessarily root for the Chiefs, but it was almost at the point where I kind of felt bad for them. And, we all love those primetime games where, the Chiefs like put on a show. Like it was a little bit cool to see them back at it and doing what they do. But Darrell Williams, running back 1 on the week in fantasy football.
Just in time for CEH to come back.
Yeah, man, this backfield's about to be super frustrating for people because it sounds like they're gonna put CEH back in his role.
Yeah,
but Darrell Williams has played way too good
to not have a role.
Yeah, he's running back 16 on the year, and CEH was healthy for what, the first 4 or 5 games. Yeah. So running back 16 in a limited time. So Darrell Williams was RB1 on the week. Guess who was RB2 and 3?
Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook,
Ramondre Stevenson, and AJ Dillon. It's like fantasy football. Remember when I said you can predict everything? Never mind. You can't.
Yeah.
Crazy top 3.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the Packers or the Patriots games this week, but we'll definitely bring that up in the waiver wire section as far as pickups go. But yeah, that's surprising.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So other takeaways for this game: Derek Carr led his team in rushing. You never want to see that. Bryan Edwards, nice to see him have a big yardage total and get in the end zone.
Yeah,
he was one of my preseason favorites.
Nice game from Renfro.
Hunter Renfro is freaking rock solid. Okay. Remember my Keenan Allen stat? He doesn't have less than 10 PPR fantasy points in any game all year.
Yeah.
Okay. Hunter Renfro has one game the entire season less than 12 points.
Wow. PPR machine.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, he's never going to give you a ceiling game, but as a flex or a wide receiver 3, sign me up all day because I'm not even pontificating. You're getting 12 points. It's happening.
The
So
the Jaguars should just trade for Renfro and have ETN and Renfro and just run the Clemson offense.
be pretty awesome. Question in the chat.
or pretty bad.
Darren Waller, what's going on? Yeah, man. I had a super heavy sweat on Darren Waller Sunday night. I was up like, I don't remember, not a whole lot of points, and they had Waller, so I was pretty much assuming I was going to lose, and he pretty much dudded out. I don't know his final line, but I thought I was going to lose that one, but
Darren Waller had 4 for 24.
Yeah, not a Darren Waller game. Yeah, I wouldn't stress. He's a top 3, top 4 tight end the rest of the way, no matter what. Tight end's just a position. If you have a player that has the ability to get 25 points, which Darren Waller does, you play him every week, no matter what.
The answer to that question is that there's probably at most 5 tight ends in the NFL that has a chance of giving you 25 points. And Waller's one of them, so you have to play him. You can't bench him. Like, what else are you going to play Cole Kmet over Darren Waller? No.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, tight end, once again, it's like a wasteland. So if you have Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, Hawkinson, Kyle Pitts, roll with them.
Mark Andrews.
There's 6 people. If you have them, you got to start them.
I agree. You got anything else on this game?
Nope, that's it. After my sick Hunter Renfro stat, I'm out of
knowledge.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Monday night. Ever since the Rams have acquired Von Miller, Odell Beckham, they look like they suck. What is up with the Rams? Is it just?
Did you see Odell requested a release?
No way.
No, I'm just
kidding. I wouldn't put it past them, but
yeah. I don't know, man. This is just the NFLing, right? I mean, how in Jimmy G has 4 incomplete passes all game against the Rams with their excellent defense. I mean, I don't even know. And San Francisco, what their game plan is, just to run it at Aaron Donald every time and get 3 yards per carry, control the clock, and win by 21. What? Like, how? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the only reason
this game made no sense. As soon as I saw Deebo Samuel carrying the ball out of the backfield, I was hella confused.
Yeah, he had like 5 or 6 carries, right?
Yeah, he's like Cordell Patterson, but better.
I can almost bet you bet the Rams.
Me, no, I actually bet the 49ers this game.
Oh, good for you. I know you like betting the Rams, especially like prime time.
I bet the 49ers this game. I just was so frustrated after their loss last week to the Cardinals. I just felt like going back to them just because I thought they were the right play last week and this week.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a weird game for the Rams because it's kind of, I don't know who to blame it on besides Stafford. But then when I thought about it, like, the pick 6 that he threw wasn't his fault. It was a good throw, and it got tipped.
No, he didn't get tipped. The receiver like fumbled the ball.
Yeah,
and
exactly. He just like threw it out. Yeah, it wasn't Stafford's fault at all.
Yeah.
I guess it was.
But on top of that, Stafford did not look the greatest. He looked like Detroit Lions Stafford in this game.
Yeah, but anyway, it didn't seem like a game where San Fran was going to win by 21. But on the San Fran side, Deebo continues to dominate. He's wide receiver 3 on the year. Brandon Ayuk looks to be completely out of the doghouse.
Yep.
But if you're going to run the ball 27 times with Elijah Mitchell and 10 times with Jeff Wilson, you cannot support 3 pass catchers. So it's Deebo and Kittle, and that's it. Ayuk is probably going to have a really nice game at some point, but I think he's a solid bench stash just in case Deebo or Kittle gets injured, and they're probably the 2 most injury-prone people in the NFL. Yeah. So I love Ayuk as a bench stash, but you cannot play him right now. But he's trending the right way.
Even in flex, like if you're in a pinch, I think you can.
Yeah, if you have injuries and a couple buys, I think he's like semi-playable at flex. But I just think he's the perfect bench stash where if there's an injury in front of him, watch out. I mean, he did
Yeah,
it last year.
I agree. Um, Cooper Cup, guy is a stud. He best receiver in football at this
Yeah,
season.
I wonder. I don't know what his pace is right now, but I think he has a chance to break the NFL receiving record.
Yeah, he. I think earlier this week or last week, I saw that he could get like I don't know, like almost 2,000 receiving yards, possibly. I don't actually know the number, but with that extra game, he could. I don't know how I feel about that, to be completely honest with you.
I know all the records going to get broken, right?
Yeah, all these
I mean,
records are going
James
to get
Conner
broken.
might set the freaking touchdown record.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, cool. Well, let's get to this question real quick. Forgive Jonah. Thank you for the question, man. If you like our content, please subscribe to the channel. We do a question and answer every Wednesday night, and we answer questions for an hour and a half, 2 hours. So if you have something, bring it. So Jonah's question is: should I trade Dalvin Cook and Noah Fant for Alvin Kamara and Darren Waller? Yeah, that was my first comment. So just we'll go game theory real quick. My general rule of trading is if it doesn't obviously help you, then why are you really doing it? I think so. Obviously, let me see. So Waller is heads and tails better than Fant.
yeah,
Dalvin, I wouldn't call it heads and tails better than Kamara, but number one is he's healthy right now, and don't find injuries. Injuries will find you, right?
right.
So just think I don't know, man. I'm torn on this because I think Dalvin's the best player in the deal, and he's going to be so rock solid down the stretch here. But the upgrade from Fant to Waller is a little bit intriguing to me. What do you think?
Um, I actually like the Alvin Kamara Waller side of this. I think what you're gaining in Waller over Fant is more than what you're losing from Dalvin to Alvin Kamara. So if it was me personally, I would pull the trigger on this. Uh, I think Kamara is. PPR format doesn't really matter here because Cook and Kamara both catch the ball out of the backfield. So, but no Fant kind of disappearing this season. So I mean, Waller's not having a great couple weeks either. But I think if you're in a position to make the playoffs and make a run, I think your upside's a little bit better with Kamara and Waller moving forward. Personally,
Yeah, I'm convinced. That was definitely the side that I thought was very interesting to begin with, and I think you're right, Rick. Is that Fant is not, you don't have to start Noah Fant every week, right?
yeah.
He's not demanding to be started. Waller is,
Mm-hmm.
and Kamara is not that much worse than Dalvin Cook. And I just looked it up. I wanted to see who had a better playoff schedule for fantasy football playoffs. And Alvin Kamara has a much better schedule than Dalvin Cook. Not that it matters, Dalvin. It doesn't matter. He's a boss no matter who he runs against. But I think that's a little bit of a tiebreaker for me. You're upgrading huge over Fant, and Kamara has a really nice schedule down the end of the year here. So
Yep.
go ahead and take the Kamara and Waller side. We both agree.
Yep. Thanks for the question. Forgive Jonah. Subscribe to the channel. We're here every week. Yeah. Just finishing up on this Rams 49ers game. I don't know about you. These guys were saying it the whole game. Like you have Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, three future Hall of Famers on that defense. They ain't that good on defense for some reason. They just don't look good on defense all year. I don't really know what's going on with them on defense.
Yeah, it's hard to have, two or three studs and, keep dominating every game. My favorite part of that, do you see the Kittle block on Von Miller?
Yeah, he
Absolutely
knocked
ended
him
his
over.
life.
Yeah, and just sat on him. Yeah, basically.
Pretty awesome. I don't know.
It's,
I don't like the way the Rams operate.
Speaking of that, like how do they operate like this? Like I don't understand. Like, do they not have a salary cap on the Rams?
Well, it's scrubs and studs, strategy.
You know what I did?
You know what I didn't realize? That the Rams have, I'm gonna get this number wrong, but it was something like They have like 9 or 10 draft picks this coming year. What? Like from where? I think. I mean, I'm sure they're all like
later round picks,
third,
yeah.
fourth, sixth rounders. But I mean, if you have ammunition and if you have 10 draft picks, 2 or 3 of them are going to work out most likely and become starters for your team. So if they're just saying we don't really value first round picks, but we're going to always trade back in the second round and get a bunch of fourth round picks, it's kind of a nice strategy, I think,
Yeah,
right?
I guess, except I like drafting players in the first round and developing them, since I've seen that formula for success in the Ravens camp all my life. So I don't know. It just blows my mind how they have money for guy after guy after guy, and they don't look that great. To be completely honest with you, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, we have another question about the Rams. With Robert Woods gone, what's the outlook for OBJ? If you want a non-biased answer, you're gonna have to let Rick answer this one. I freaking hate Odell Beckham. I think he is not a good football player, and he hasn't been good for 3 or 4 years now. And it was like making me want to dry heave that they just kept showing the freaking one-hand catch. Like, y'all just need to get over it. That was so long ago. Just forget about it. We get it. He was really good as a rookie, really good as a second-year player. He has not been good and not been healthy for so long now. It's like, I think that I would actually, if anyone on the channel would like to bet, I bet that Van Jefferson has more fantasy points for the rest of the season than Odell Beckham. And I'm very confident in it.
You literally just took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say. I would rather have Van Jefferson in this offense than OBJ, to be completely honest with you. I think he is not only the better receiver, he's younger, he's faster. I mean, Odell Beckham, I think at this point is just a cancer. Like he just doesn't fit or anywhere in an NFL locker room. I mean, I don't know if like the culture in LA can turn it around for him a little bit, but
it's like the worst culture for him. All right, so
yeah, that's another thing. He's going to go to LA and he's going to be partying it up with LeBron James and all these guys and stuff like that. And I don't really see him succeeding in LA. It's kind of a weird move, weird timing of the move, with the injury to Robert Woods. I would have liked OBJ a little bit more if Robert Woods was healthy, to be completely honest with you. Maybe as a wide receiver 3, but as the wide receiver 2 potentially now, I don't like it.
No, he needed to be a wide receiver 3 or a wide receiver 4 that has packages for him and be creative. I mean, he is a good athlete. He's just not a number 1 or number 2 receiver. Like, people need to give it up. He's not it anymore.
Yep.
And one more thing on him. I could tell in the first quarter, and I could be completely wrong. He could completely turn it around. But I said, this first quarter is going to determine the way I feel about him in LA. The first play of the game, what had to happen, right? They gave him a 4-yard out route, and I was like, here we go. I was like, this basically shows that the coaches and the management and whatever is already worried about, like, okay, he's our new guy. He's our new toy. Let's get him the ball. I was like, give me a freaking break. And then Stafford threw a horrible interception that was like thrown 30 yards away from Beckham that basically showed, well, I'm going to force feed him the ball down the field. I mean, that play was never there to be had. So there was like 2, it's not blatantly obvious, but there's 2 plays that show me that the Rams are already nervous and are shoving the ball down his throat because they know what happens once he doesn't get the rock a few times. He throws a temper tantrum. So I just don't want that in my locker room.
Yeah, let's see how it looks moving forward for the next couple weeks. Obviously, this week you probably didn't know the playbook and stuff like that. Let's see how it looks after a week of practice if they involve him more in the offense. But to answer your question really quickly, Mike, I just don't see much from him moving forward in this offense. If anything, I think it's more of a detriment than a gain for them. But
go trade Odell Beckham for Hunter Renfrow and then go win a championship.
Yeah, if you can pull that off with somebody who likes the name value of Odell Beckham and you can get Hunter Renfrow in return, that is a steal of a trade.
I would offer Odell Beckham to pretty much every team in the league because there's guaranteed to be 1 or 2 people in your league that can't stop watching SportsCenter highlights of Odell Beckham.
All right, let's talk waivers and wrap up the show, Chris. Let's start off with quarterbacks this week. Give me a couple guys that you like, and I'll give you a couple guys that I like streaming.
Cool. Love Cam Newton. Not only just for this week streaming, but also rest of season. Why not? He's fresh. He has great history in Carolina. They have a smash matchup this weekend against football team. Love every bit of Cam Newton. Yeah, go for that. And, I've been talking about this a couple weeks now. Please roster Derek Carr if he's available in your league. He has the best matchups in the NFL for QBs for the rest of the season.
Yep. I'll throw a couple of names out there. I like Mac Jones this week. He is playing the Atlanta Falcons. You think he's rookie of the year right now if the season ended? I think he is.
Jamar Chase.
Yes, Jamar Chase. I forgot about that guy. He didn't play last week, and I forgot about him. Yes, okay. So Jamar Chase and then Mac Jones, I think. I like Mac Jones this week against the Falcons.
If you're doing that in like DFS or something, before you go overweight in that, just remember the Falcons defense has kind of been sneaky good the past like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, coming off of that, 40-point performance that they just gave up to the Bills. What are you talking about?
Before that, I'm just saying.
Okay, fine. All right, I'm still gonna roll with Mac Jones. I don't mind Tua against the Jets. And maybe not the greatest matchup in the world, but if you're in a pinch at quarterback, I think you could start him. And I think a really good matchup this week if he's available in your leagues. He may not be available, but Tannehill against the Texans this week. I think that's a pretty good matchup. You couldn't go wrong with that. So those are the guys I like at quarterback. You like anybody else?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Running back pickups for Waiver Wire.
We can drop Trey Lance, right? If we still have him. Yeah, I think the dream's up there, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's playing this season unless they're completely out of it, maybe like week 16 or 17. So he's fantasy irrelevant at this point.
Let's hit up this trade question before we do running backs.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Owen, sure. Owen fam, thanks for the question. Subscribe to the channel. He says, do I trade OBJ and Cortland Sutton for Mike Williams and Miles Sanders?
Yeah, I think so, because OBJ is like a flex play at best. Cortland Sutton's like a wide receiver 3. Mike Williams is like a wide receiver 3, and Miles Sanders is a running back.
What's up with Miles Sanders right now? Is he
so they said today he's not guaranteed to play this week, but when he does play, he is the starter. That was the coach's words this week.
Okay.
So
those are the words, then I would pull the trigger on the Mike Williams, Miles Sanders end of it.
Yeah, neither of us like Mike Williams a lot, but I think Sutton and Mike Williams is probably a wash, right? Or close enough.
Yeah.
I'd even say Mike Williams might even, I don't know. Sutton's been dudding out lately since Judy's been back.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think for better or for worse, Sutton and Mike Williams is a wash, and I'd rather have the upside of Miles Sanders over Beckham. The Eagles have a really good schedule the rest of the year. And we know Miles Sanders is super talented, and the Eagles have ran the ball more than any team in the NFL since Miles Sanders was hurt. So if they continue the way they're running the ball, like the volume that they're giving, and they give it to Sanders, I mean, good Lord, he's gonna eat, because he's better than Jordan Howard. I promise you that.
Yeah. The Eagles run the ball more than anyone in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm.
Owen, thanks for the question. We both like the Mike Williams, Miles Sanders end of that deal. So I hope you're getting those two in that trade. Go ahead. Talk to me about running back waiver wires this week. There's obvious ones. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, the super obvious one's AJ Dillon. He's probably not on your waiver wire. If he is, use every dollar you have left. Aaron Jones, if I'm betting, I think he's out 2 weeks because they do have a bye, I think, after that. So it might make sense just to sit him out the extra week to get the extra week of rest. But I don't want to exhaust talking about AJ Dillon because he's probably not available in your league. So other than that, I'm going to throw out some names and let me know if I'm missing anyone, and then I like maybe rank them for me. Ramondre Stevenson, Jeff Wilson, Dante Foreman, and the Wayne train, Wayne Gallman.
Those are all the names that I was going to say.
Okay.
The only thing I will say about Wayne Gallman is that Cordell Patterson might play this week.
Really?
He practiced today.
High ankle sprain coming back right away.
It's not a high ankle sprain. It's just
really?
Ankle sprain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He practiced today, so keep an eye on for that. If Cordell Patterson is out, Mike Davis is just a no play, no show anymore. So we've seen Wayne Gallman in New York, fill in wonderfully for Saquon when he got hurt. So definitely could stash him. And if the tough matchup against the Patriots, but if you are in a pinch and Patterson is out, feel free to play Wayne Gallman. But I agree with all the other guys you said. Foreman's the guy in Tennessee. Stevenson, we'll see what the situation is with Damian Harris this week.
He's in.
Damian Harris is in.
He's in. He cleared the concussion protocol. He's starting. Yeah.
So I'm a little less on Ramondre Stevenson in that situation. I know that Bill Belichick really loves Damian Harris, so I'd rather go to someone like Foreman or Dillon, obviously, in this situation.
Yeah, Stevenson, I think, is an interesting stash because, concussions can come back and for Harris. And I don't know. I just think Stevenson's super talented. He's been playing good in the preseason. He was the RB2 last week in the absence of Harris. I think he's a nice stash. Even if Harris plays this week, I wouldn't be in a rush to put him in my lineup, and I probably wouldn't. But, the Patriots, things change every week with their running back situation. But if I'm starting anyone this week, I need a starter. I would spend more on Foreman than Stevenson. I think he has more value this week. The Titans have a really nice matchup, and Foreman, I think he's just the only guy with juice in that backfield. Adrian Peterson ain't it anymore, and McNichols really took a backseat this week, so I like Foreman a lot this week.
All right. Yep, I agree. Do we have any questions? Nope, no questions. Move on to wide receivers. Couple names I'll throw out there. I love this guy. I don't know where he came from. Jamal Agnew on the Jags. I told you this weekend. For some reason, this guy makes a play every week, and he's getting yards and finding touchdowns. So he's not a bad stash. Brian Edwards, obviously, we've talked about him plenty in the show. Michael Gallup, I think that's a really big pickup this week, especially with CD being a little banged up. If CD's out this week, Gallup is a must start if you can pick him up. Give me some names, Chris.
Yeah, Gallup was one of mine. Good call there. Corey Davis, he's probably not available in a ton of leagues, but he was injured, and so people with the bye weeks might have cut him. So he's back. He's reasserted himself as the alpha in that offense. This is a guy I don't really like, but you can't argue that his situation has improved, is Robbie Anderson. So Robbie Anderson, his next three matchups are Washington, Miami, and Atlanta. So, pretty nice matchups coming up, and he has Cam now. So Robbie Anderson's probably available in a lot of leagues. I like him. And then kind of like a deeper league or, a little bit more of a long shot play that could either totally dud or really take off is Nico Collins on Houston. They have a really nice rest of the schedule. And he's a rookie wide receiver that is getting a decent amount of looks for a pretty raw rookie coming out of Michigan. So I like his upside for the rest of the year because Houston's out of it. They want to see what they have. So I think Nico Collins is going to have us a big game or two. So he's worth a stash.
Who's the quarterback in week 1 for the Houston Texans next year?
Whoever they draft in the first round this year.
Yeah.
Right? It almost has to be. I don't know what.
For some reason, I just feel like they want to hold on to Deshaun so bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's not going to play another game for them.
Yeah.
I for some reason I can't stop picturing Deshaun in a Washington football team jersey.
Yeah, I could see that. I was gonna say Miami, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
true.
the big rumor, but
Where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
yeah, that's true. But yeah, the obviously we've already talked about him plenty in this show and in previous shows. But if for whatever reason Bateman, Van Jefferson, Christian Kirk, if these guys are available in your league, got to pick them up.
Agree.
All right. Tight ends. I don't got much to say. Tight ends besides Logan Thomas. He's coming back at some point, either this week or next week. So I think he's a good play for the Washington football team. Pat Fryermouth, if he's available, he's a good streaming tight end. You got anybody?
Yeah, I was gonna say I like Logan Thomas the best if you don't have to play him this week and you're looking for long-term upside. I think he's the best player to add. If you need to play someone this week, go for Tyler Conklin or Dan Arnold. Yeah, Conklin's getting the volume, and then he got in the end zone twice this past week. And Dan Arnold has 10, 7, and 7 targets the last 3 games. He is the number 1 targeted player on Jacksonville's offense since he joined the team.
All right, I like it. It makes me throw up a little bit in my mouth saying this, but Evan Ingram, a little bit of love for Evan Ingram this week.
Dude, I think he has back-to-back weeks with touchdowns.
He does.
I mean, I own him in like every dynasty league. I think that's actually not a lie. I think I own him in all 4 of my dynasty leagues. Yeah, I like Evan Ingram. He has a great matchup too.
Yeah.
Who they play? Tampa?
Yeah.
Tampa can't guard anyone right now. So yeah, hell yeah. 3 straight weeks with Evan Ingram touchdowns. Let's go.
All right, that's it for the tight ends. Really quickly, defenses. I'll give you my 2 best plays, and then you can give me your 2 best plays. I really like the Browns this week against the Lions at home, and I also like the Niners at Jacksonville.
Yeah, my Niners at Jacksonville was on my radar. But my number 1 smash play of the week is Tennessee at home against Houston. I never would have thought I said this. If you listen back to our old podcast at the beginning of the year, I said Tennessee will be good, but their defense will hold them back. I thought they were going to have one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and they did at the beginning of the year. I don't know what changed for them, but they just look amazing the past 4 or 5 weeks. So yeah, just be careful later in the year. Don't just look at defensive rankings, over just real quick on just concepts of fantasy football. You know how Yahoo and Sleeper and ESPN, they all show like the color ratings for the teams.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just be careful to fall into that because teams evolve over the year and you can't just say, oh, that team's green, let me go play them. Well, the last 3 weeks, they might be freaking outstanding because they got someone back from injury. They changed concepts, whatever. But so Tennessee might not look like a strong defense, but the past 4 or 5 weeks, they've been incredible.
Yep. Definitely got to pay attention a little bit more when it comes to stuff like that for sure. Good show, Chris. We talked about a lot. Me and Chris didn't watch much football on Sunday, but we caught up and we followed this crazy league every week. Seems like we're going to get upsets and crazy stuff happening every week. So I'm sure next week we'll come back and be like, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that happened. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the games this week. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section or tweet at us. Chris, have a good time in Chicago this weekend. Enjoy the Ravens game. Hopefully you can bring back a win. And if I get a chance to see you in Baltimore next week, I will see you. If not, have a good Thanksgiving.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Great show. Thanks, producer Mike. Appreciate you.
Speaking of that, are you going to be able to do a show next week from West Virginia?
Ooh, yeah. Let's talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
The Wi-Fi isn't particularly strong in the West Virginia mountains, so
yeah. Okay, cool.
Maybe I'll just join the chat or something like that.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Well, you guys have a good night, and we will see you guys next week.
All right. See you.